Oh, getting dancing with it right off the top. Making sure that we are live. Watching the YouTube screen on my own end. I think we're live, but I gotta make sure. So let's see if this works out. It looks like we are live. So what is going on, everybody? Yeah, episode 54. Right here, live and direct on Swiss Beatbox, boy Scott Jackson, Beyond the Beats, episode 54. Like I said, we're already over a year in, and happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. If you have a mother and you have the opportunity to do so, and you have all these good things, go ahead and give them a call and tell them you love them. And I hope you guys who are mothers have had a very nice day as well. So that's from me to you guys. Anyways, for some reason, my whole thing has been a little bit quieter than usual, but I'll figure that out throughout the show. Today we have on, as you can see on the other side of the screen, I can see that Mike Spawn's in there, Beatbox Hobbit's in there. Everybody's ready for this. I'm excited to go and have you on. Today we have Bell Erisman. I'm going to go and try to say that name correctly. I maybe butchered it. Reppin'.
That was perfect. No one ever.
Reppin' Birds, The Box Sets, Vocal Orchestra, Beatbox Collective, Tung Fu, aka the Jazz Crusaders, Disraeli and the Small Gods, repping with, let me see, Backstep, Zingzillas, aka Bello, aka Bell Smell Effects. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Bellatrix.
Wow, you know some stuff about me already.
Hey, we're trying out here. This is Beyond the Beats. We coming for this. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm very well. It's nice to have you on. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me on. Pleasure.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about your career in beatboxing. We're going to talk about, right off the bat, I want to jump into your new release of Golden that just came out for your upcoming EP. Listen to it over, and something that everybody should go and check out on Spotify. It's definitely an Apple Music, I believe, as well. I listen to it on Spotify. But slapping track and first release after 3 years approximately. So you're getting new music back out there, and I'm excited to go and hear it. But I know that you have some sound restraints a little bit, so we're gonna go and start off. I gotta go and ask, are you willing to go and do a little showcase just to kick us off on the right note today?
Absolutely, I'm ready.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, world champion, multiple times coming at you live and direct on Swiss Beatbox, Bellatrix about to go and slap at the beast and also go and rip it up. You already know what it is. So let's get into that. I'm excited to go and see what is about to happen. If you're sitting at home, you already know what to do. I say the 3, y'all say the 2 and the 1. Bellatrix getting busy in 3.
Sweet stuff. I know you got some sweet stuff kicking around in that head of yours. I ain't never seen some eyes as hollow as those you got there. Can you see them? Or they only see in words? Look what you've done. Sitting here, it's only I've seen you smile
Yes, slapping it off right off the top. Wow. Trying to get this thing to go even louder. I don't even understand why I can't do that. I got to go and figure this out for a quick second because I need louder applause here. That's what I did wrong. Crank that up to, let's say, about that. And, oh, it's getting there. Crank that up a little bit more to about there. And once again, slapping it off right off the top of the show. Let's giggity go. Oh, man. I love the fact that you can go and pair one of the instruments that you didn't start on because you started off on cornet, if I'm correct on that.
How do you know these things?
Beyond the beats, we know things. We know things.
I'm impressed.
Hey, we're starting off on a good note, but it's crazy for me to go and see you be able to pair what you went to school for and studied on the bass rather, and being able to put them together with the beatboxing. And I've always wondered that because I've dabbled on a piano and beatbox a little bit, but I don't really know how to play. I just kind of tinkle on the keys, you know. And I've seen people be able to go and do it like someone like a Greg Patilio with flute box. In your opinion, could you just go and start off by telling me, how do you have the concentration of being able to go and play your instrument, the bass, and be able to pair it with beatboxing seamlessly and make a full song like you just did?
Right. So it's an interesting one because I suppose for a long time, I kind of quite belligerently kept them very separate from each other. They were these two very separate worlds, you know. So I was quite successful with beatboxing very young, and it was before the sort of global financial crisis, and I was earning quite a lot of money with it. And I was able to put myself through this very this very posh music school called Guildhall School of Music and Drama. And like a lot of people in that music college were, you know, from very kind of a very specific, very posh background, basically. And I sort of had these two kind of disciplines that I was doing. I was studying at Guildhall and I was doing beatboxing. And I felt very much like, I guess a part of me felt a degree of, hi. Your phone's in the other room. I put it in the other room. That's my housemate. I felt a part of me felt imposter syndrome, you know, in this kind of really, really posh musical institution that I was able to put myself through. I was able to go through it because of the money I earned myself beatboxing. And so I guess like, yeah, for a long time I kept them very separately. And so everyone who's trained at beatboxing will know what it feels like to be rubbish at it when you first start, because we're all rubbish when we start, right? And to put a lot of hard work in and to get better and to go from a point of having to really sort of concentrate on what you're doing and it being quite hard to basically being fluent at speaking the language of beatbox. And the same thing with the double bass. So I started playing bass guitar when I was about 13, and one day my teacher turned up with his double bass and was like, okay, we're doing this today. And I was like, what's that? And I started on it, and I was rubbish because I hadn't played it before. And then I was like, Dad, I want one of these. And my dad was like, I can't get you one of those. And then beautifully, my teacher was like, I've got a spare that you can borrow. So I used that for quite a long time. And then was able to buy myself my own double bass with money I'd earned beatboxing. So that's kind of beautiful. But the same with the double bass, I had to really practice and then got good at it. So I had these two disciplines that I was becoming really good at separately from each other. And unfortunately, for quite a long time, I kept them so separate because I was very young. And, you know, when you're young, you really want to fit in with what you're doing. And I had these two very different sort of worlds that I was trying to fit into that were very different from each other. And so I kept them separate. And then there became a point where I was just like, hang on, my whole jam and everything that I talk about is unity. So why am I actually not allowing myself to be unified? And I started to bring the two together. And with the two together, it was exactly the same. So when I first started, I was, you know, to be able to sort of play a really simple bass line and just keep going through was really challenging, because you'd have to kind of like basically, at first what I did was I worked out where the bass drum, the hi-hat and the snare drum would sit in relation to what note I was playing on the bass, and I'd sort of really slowly go round and round and round the same thing until I could do it. The same as if you were learning beatboxing, a new beatboxing routine, right? And then it got to a point where I was like, oh, now it's sort of becoming easier, and you know, now I'm at a place where I can improvise with double bass and with beatboxing, and I can just improvise, and it's kind of it's a fluent language. They're kind of speaking with each other, and yeah. So I guess, yeah, as with any discipline, you're rubbish when you start, and then you practice and you're good.
Yeah, well, it's paying off, like definitely paying off, because I've always just found it so, even seeing somebody that is a singer that uses an instrument while they play, the idea of being able to go and, you know, have kind of a having a rhythm section or playing chords on a guitar, let's say, and then being able to sing where it's not matching up. I just find it that you need to go and have that idea of, like, you know, even doing as a drummer would hit the hi-hat and then play offbeat stuff, but still having to keep the time. So it's just, I just found it fascinating to see somebody excels at it.
Like,
It just, you can see see them turning in the brain to go make this happen. I always like to start as well by trying to find a couple quotes people say throughout their career, and I found Beatbox Battle TV, the interview that you did. I like, because this is something that I can see that you've done throughout your career as I look through it. And I've known you, I think, since 2009 World Champs, where we were both there, and being able to follow along, but really going in depth and looking at what you've done with it has been a pleasure over the past few days. And one of the quotes I found was, you need to keep your style original. You need to come up with your own sounds, and you need to come up with new things. Later on, you say, but beatboxing is not, or if beatboxing is to be considered music, you need to take the gimmick away from it. I like it.
In 2009.
You said that in 2009 in a Beatbox Battle TV interview. And you followed up in 2016 when you were with Lad Bible, saying, I'm not actually here to find out how or where I fit into this world. I have to be true to what it is, honestly me. So you have done that thus far, and I appreciate the fact that you are coming up with original ideas, coming up with original sounds, pushing the scene forward, and sticking to your values throughout it, because it's a shame to see somebody that loses themselves in a moment. So could you kind of just go and speak on a little bit just of what pushes you to go and keep that originality up and keep that motivation to be original, strive to make sure that you are yourself?
Yeah, I guess it's probably true to say that I have never really fitted in, or I've never really been normal. And I guess, like, for me personally, the times that I have tried, because believe me, I've tried to fit in a lot, as we all have just caused me loads of pain, basically, and been, like, ultimately completely fruitless. So yeah, I guess as I've grown up, I've gradually I've just been taught by life time and time again that it's in being true to yourself that you actually find the gold. And we all kind of have our job in this world. We all have our path, and you know, like, nobody can do you better than yourself, and you can't do someone else better than they can. So there's no point in trying, you know. So yeah, I guess, like, for me, like, so for example, with my own music that I make and put out, that kind of isn't actually anything to do with beatboxing, but just my artist project as a singer, a lot of people really hate it, and a lot of people really love it. But, you know, I get people saying, like, oh, your music's a bit, like, challenging. Maybe less with the newer stuff, but some of my first stuff people found really hard to digest, because I just really just, you know, do and say and make what I want. And I like weirdly get a strange kick out of it when people say that. Obviously, I love it when people say, my ego loves it, and I love it when people say that they love my music. But also when people say they hate it, I'm just like, yeah, sick, cool. That's because I'm not mediocre.
To be loved and hated is definitely a sign that you're getting somewhere.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. I'm all right with being hated as long as, you know, as long as not everyone hates me.
No. I don't think that's true whatsoever. I like you, so I mean, yeah, you got a fan in Canada at least, you know. And going on to music again. Before I really get into kind of where you started in beatbox wise world stuff, currently just released Golden, and it's a single off of an upcoming EP that you've been working on. And again, I really enjoyed it, and I listened to your previous works that I found of the Real Stuff Owl, and your other EP that you put out would be your second EP, Bad Dancing. So it's interesting to see the way that you've started in your musical journey, and you've done stuff with the box sets before that in 2011, putting out just, I think it was Free and a bunch of songs with them to go on tour with. But a question I always ask artists, specifically someone that's a songwriter and somebody that makes their own music, I don't like the idea of asking, what's your inspiration? Because that's just a kind of bland question. But I like the idea of just the healing process behind music, and the idea of when you put something out that's personal. And could you kind of just talk about what this upcoming EP has done for you personally, and also maybe where it came from in you, and that idea of, you know, the healing process behind writing music and pushing forward with it?
Yeah. So, okay. So this particular EP is called "I Was an Aphid," and that is a quote from an Audre Lorde text. If you're not familiar with Audre Lorde, I really recommend you check out her. Actually, she was an incredible academic, Black feminist, poet, writer, just extraordinary human being. And she has a text called Uses of the Erotic as Power. And she has a quote, which I'm going to have to read because I don't want to butcher it. Let me just make sure
I fully understand, because when I was reading off your quotes, I was making sure that I was trying to get it verbatim, not trying to go in and basically what she's, well, you know, what you don't want to go and say that when you're talking about this author or poet, rather.
Completely. So the quote is, tell me it's in here. Quote is, sorry, I should have had this at the ready. Okay. There's a line in this whole text which is absolutely life-changingly good, so I recommend you check it out. The Erotic as Power. So, women are maintained at a distant / inferior position to be psychically milked, much the same way ants maintain colonies of aphids to provide life-giving substance to their masters. So I had a look. I researched ants and aphids, and basically ants do farm aphids, and they basically, ants stroke the backs of aphids and get this like sweet nectar stuff from them. Obviously in nature, that is like possibly a symbiotic relationship, I'm not sure, or parasitic, I'm not sure, but in the case of this essay by Audre Lorde, she's talking about patriarchy. And I wrote this specific EP when I was in an abusive dynamic, basically with an ex-partner, and I guess the kind of process of the 4 tracks, like it was written in real time, and it follows a point of, so Golden, the first tune, was written at a point where I knew that something wasn't right. I was basically kind of a ghost of my former self. I was exhausted all the time. I wasn't okay, but I also wasn't quite ready to be real with myself about what situation I was in. But Golden was kind of a commitment to myself that I was going to take the first steps on this journey. And the chorus of Golden, the lyrics are "You're golden to me," and that is kind of that's me speaking to myself. That's a grounded. I believe that we all have, you know, many parts to ourselves, and like some parts that we sort of deem unlovable, or parts that kind of identify with like traumas we've had or whatever. And I also believe that we all have somewhere inside us a kind of grounded, centered version of ourselves, part of ourselves that actually can sort of like see. And that was that part of myself saying to all these other parts of myself that were operating in whichever way in the world, "You're golden to me, like I love you." And I think that if we can all love ourselves, like the parts of ourselves, I've got loads of parts of myself that I sort of in a way deem unlovable, like loads of parts of myself where I'm like, wow, Belle, like that behavior is not okay. But if I can also love that part of myself, it kind of releases it in a way, and helps me not to operate from that place. So that's where I was speaking from. So that was the first tune. And then there's 3 other tunes, and they sort of follow the process. Then the second one's called Bad Love, and it's a point where I've realized that, you know, this relationship is not okay. I mean, it's more than not okay. It's abusive. But I actually can't see the door. I can't see the way out. So that was the next one. The third tune is about addiction and escapism, and the fourth tune, which is called Thrive, is about the point when I'm out of the relationship, and like I'm basically a mess because, you know, anyway, if you break up from a relationship, you're possibly going to be a mess. But, you know, this specific dynamic, it was a certain flavor of mess that I was in, and it was just like, you know, I'm a mess, I will survive, and then I'm going to thrive. So this EP was written sort of in real time throughout this process, and I think that like creativity is like really a really potent source of connection. And for me, it I guess has been a really important part of my healing from that situation that I was in. And Golden now, I mean, it's just coming into its own. And I guess it's like the onion skin layers have been peeled off this tune, and it's like even further sort of like it's actually just about a continuing unfolding and a continuing like tearing off of like the societal sort of norms and expectations and like lies that are put upon us. And as I sort of go forward into my life, and I'm like really sort of stepping into who I am and like casting off all of society's like rubbish, I just feel like, yeah, Golden continues to come into its own. So yeah, that's just constantly healing for me, even still.
It's good to have that outlet as an artist to go and be able to express yourself. And I feel like that's another thing that you've done with workshops and work that you've done, and kind of the values that you've held throughout your career so far, and what I've seen, and just you as a person talking to you. I like the idea of just people being the truest versions of themselves and encouraging others to go and find that version that they want to go and, you know, be able to go and push that forward into the world. So it's nice to hear that. And I was going to say too, off of this upcoming EP, can you kind of give maybe a hint as to when you'll be dropping the rest of it?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how like allowed this is, but nobody's told me not to tell you.
Oh.
So basically, like, I think that maybe I'm not allowed. Well,
let's not go and step on toes. I don't want to go and step on toes and get you in trouble there, eh?
I've got the second tune will be coming reasonably soon.
All right, that's fairly broad, but like at least it's out there. And will there be visuals paired with this as well that you're going to be able to put out? Do you think? And I don't know how difficult it is during these times to go and film something, but
I mean, like the reality is actually budget. So there's an incredible, I don't know if you've seen the artwork and the animations. So there's an artist called Emily Evans who I love. She's done the artwork for all of my music. She's done an animation she's animating about sort of 10 to 15 seconds of the artwork for each of these. So that's as much as there is at the moment. I really want to do music videos, but I don't have any money.
Well, hopefully with music sales, and you have merch that's still up on your website, so people can go there and hopefully support you and play more of your songs on Spotify, even though it's not that much money for listen. At least you can get some more stuff coming in.
I'll get a few grand, I think. So $1 million, if you can sit there pressing play 1 million times, then that'll sort me out to do a music video.
Yeah, just have it on a continuous loop. It's continuously looping through it. Just allow it to run in the background when you go to work if you have unlimited internet somewhere. Also, what would you like to see in the future moving forward? Because you've worked with a bunch of different artists. I'll go talk about that, but also in your solo career, is there more music coming after this? Are you working on more projects and stuff that you want to do, focusing specifically on your solo career?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm so obviously I haven't put music out for a few years. So this EP that's coming out is it feels like quite a big deal for me. And yeah, like obviously whenever you put something out, you have no idea kind of how it's going to go and who it's going to land with. Yeah, like that's going to do whatever it does. In the meantime, I'm writing the next thing. So there's going to be another, like, I think it has to be an EP again. And hopefully, I'm absolutely gagging to write an album. And I guess that will happen next. And yeah, also, it's complicated because of COVID as well. So normally I would be preparing for a summer of festivals with my band. I've got an amazing band. I play bass guitar and I sing, and I've got, amazing musicians playing with me. But there's none of that this summer. There's none of that. So I guess I'm going to keep writing and keep practicing, playing my tunes, playing the bass. And there'll be a live stream in the summer. And I just want to keep making. I'm really, really enjoying making this work. I'm really enjoying making my own, because I've obviously, as many of us do, I've got sort of quite a few different arms to my artistic self as a human, and this as my own solo career. I'm really enjoying it. I just want to keep making. I want to keep learning. It's really important to me that I sort of, through what I do, am able to I guess I want to step up and step out, and I want to make change as much and any which way that I possibly can in the world. Alongside sort of making my art, I feel like reading and educating myself and sort of conditioning myself from, I guess, all this sort of systemic oppression, the web of systemic oppression that we exist within. That is sort of a part of my creative process. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying sort of going down that path at the moment. And I feel like I guess I'm kind of upgrading myself a bit creatively and in my brain.
Yes, I would say though, you've been pushing it and you've been on the scene for a while, but you've got recognition in multiple different awards. And recently, I believe it was last year, Exeter Ram, you were part of the 100 Trailblazing Women of the 21st Century that was done by Anita Corbin, and it was an experience of bringing this together. But unfortunately, with stuff the way it was hard to go and actually visit said exhibition. So you are pushing the scene forward and you're achieving it, and it's just continuing. So I'm excited to go and see and hear new music from you.
Awesome. Oh, thank you.
But talking about beatboxing, we're here on Swiss Beatbox. So you start off beatboxing. From what I can see, you were, as I said, you were playing music. You grew up in a musical household with your father being a professional musician and
he was
support.
a professional musician, actually.
Oh.
I might have said that at some point when I was younger. I don't think I knew what the word professional meant. My dad's a mental health nurse, and he's really great. He's a really great keys player. Yeah.
So, if then it might be, excuse me, I misspoke, Scott.
That's
correct. I'm pointing at myself. You got to get this correct.
I wrote somewhere at some point. I probably lied.
Well, lots of interviews being done. You have to go and say, get asked the same question. So I'm just trying to go and fast forward through it. But so let's just go and say musical father and supportive family behind you practicing, and you start practicing beatboxing when you meet Tim, aka Dukebox, and he took the time to go and be like, here's how you do some stuff, and you were just immediately hooked on the idea of making sounds, because you had made sounds before, but seeing somebody do it at an impressive level inspired you. And when you start beatboxing, like how far along the line would you say that you're like, okay, I feel confident enough to get on stages and do it? Because you said you moved at 16 to Bristol and you start doing open mics, so that means like 2 years experience. But were you performing outside of that beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, I was like a very audacious young person, and I like when Tim sort of showed me some stuff, so I basically, at that point in my life, I lived with my mother, so my mum and another woman called Nanette. These two single mothers basically rented a house together to co-parent all their millions of children, one of which was me. And so we had this like really great household that was very musical, very creative, and really buzzing with lots of people. And Jukebox was friends with one of Nanette's older children, so it was just like a family friend in and out. And one of Nanette's children, so like essentially they're kind of like my brothers and sisters, because we all grew up together and lived together, but they're not actually. So Yawan was one of Nanette's children, and he was also learning to beatbox at the same time. So we were learning together, and we had a little duet. And I've actually my mum like found some footage of this recently, and we must have been 14, 15, and we like put on a show or there was like some sort of show. We did it in like the school. I think we did it in the school talent show, and there was like some like local, I mean, there was always like little gigs going on around the place, and we did it in a local gig, and there's some footage of us doing it. And we did a cover of Wind Technique, Kenny Mohammad's Wind Technique. And we did some of our own stuff. Yeah. And we did some of our own stuff. So that was like the first kind of times I was getting on stage. And then I moved to Bristol, and obviously, so this was all through like, so Jukebox and Yawan were like, around me, and Audible was around at that point as well. And then who was also taught by Jukebox. And I moved to Bristol, and on humanbeatbox.com, basically there was a jam session that was organized where everyone met at Bristol Temple Meads train station. And I hadn't met anyone other than like the little lot that was around me yet. And Hobbit was there. Hobbs, I think you may be watching. Hello, darling. Hobbs always represents. What a G. So Hobbs was there, and there's a funny photo of us somewhere looking like absolute babies. And like Fozzy from Birmingham, and Boris FX and Nevo. There was like a bunch of beatboxers there. And I sort of like rolled up, and it was like there was a little circle of boys with their hoods up, all sort of like going, like bobbing their heads. And I was like, oh, that must be them. And I went over, and of course, nobody expected me to be a beatboxer as well, because no one had seen a girl do it. And yeah, I just sort of like, I mean, I was kind of probably quite scared, but I had like a major confidence front, and so I was just like, I just joined in, and yeah, I just like started, I don't know, I just literally just started like getting on the mic at all these different nights. And I was like a lot of the time terrified, and I had dry mouth, and like I was just like, I can't do it, but I'd just get up and just do it anyway. And yeah, those were the early days.
and those early days led you to being able to go and start performing more shows? Because you do open mics, people start saying, hey, you come over here, we have a discussion, I have this set for you to go and do.
And that's what happened really, really quickly. People, I remember like getting texts from people saying, you know, and offering me money, and it was only like, you know, £20, £50 or whatever. But at that point, like, it felt like loads of money to me. And I was just like getting all these little bookings around Bristol, and I'd go and just get up on stage and just get up on stage. I remember at one point, the MC, I was playing at this like drum and bass hip hop night in Bristol, and the MC was like, "This girl's only 17 years old," and then the bouncer kicked me out because you have to be 18.
Get out of here. Just cut off. Shoot.
Yeah.
That's a solid story. Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. But you start performing, and you start also, you go to BoxCon, you get to do a showcase there at BoxCon 07, and you start getting into the scene. When's the first UK champs that you went to? Because I know you went and you got into the UK champs, and you were like trailblazing, getting in there and getting against Foz in the quarterfinals and being able to go and jump into that set. So when's the first time that you knew that there were actual battles, quote unquote, going on?
So what do you know what the year of the first UK champs was? I should know.
Everybody should know this. I'm gonna go and see. I think I'm gonna go with let's see, 2005, I believe it was. It'd be
I think it was the second UK champs that hang on.
2006 you battled Foz, yeah.
Okay, so that was the first year that I entered. So the first time I entered the UK champs, there had been like one of these jams in Bristol, and the Bristol heat. So there used to be like heats around the country. There'd be like a West Country heat, a Northern heat, like wherever, and then whoever won each one would go through to the finals. So in 2006, there'd been a jam, and everyone was going to the Bristol heat, and I basically was like, I probably won't get in because I'm underage, but everyone was like, why don't you ask? So Shlomo was running it at the time, so everyone was like, why don't you just ask him if you can compete, and then we can probably slip you in. And I was like, I'm not going to compete, like I can't compete, what do you mean? And everyone was like, no, go on. And I was like, okay, cool. And I think everyone else was competing, and so I went I got in, and my first battle was against Marville, and I won, and it was my first. Was it my first ever battle? It may have been my first ever battle, and I battled him, and I won. And then I battled Hobbit next, and he won again, and he absolutely wiped me out. And then after that, Shlomo came up to me and was like, "Yo, you." Because he was just like, your style's really musical and interesting, and I think you're an interesting artist, and I'd love to have you on the agency, which is now called Fifth Element, but used to be called All From the Mouth. And I was just like, wow, what do you mean? Like I knew who Shlomo was, like he was like a celebrity to me, but I was just like, it was just like all a lot. And so yeah, that was the first battle, and then I entered so there was an online battle, which for that same year, which took me through to the finals of that year in London. So then I went up to London and battled Foz, and I think he won that one. And then there was another battle I entered, which was just like some battle in the UK. It was like in Brighton, and a load of us went down, and I actually won the whole thing. And that was like super affirming for me, because like, I don't know, it's just like, I guess I kind of had a bit of a narrative that was like, oh, I'm just this random little person coming onto the scene. But then I just won this battle, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I could do this. And then 2007 in the UK Beatbox Championships, I got to the finals again, and I beat Ballsy, but there's no footage of it, which is such a shame.
Well, there you never know, because I just saw that on the UK Champs channel, they just started releasing some old school footage, an old school battle, so it might be archived somewhere, and I hope it is.
Love that. I'd be so happy if there was footage of me beating Ballsy. I mean, like nowadays I can't touch him, but like that would be great. And yeah, I came third, I think, in the UK that year, which was 2007, which I guess like at the time I sort of didn't really think anything of it, but now sort of like looking at kind of the situation with the gender imbalance and sort of looking back to what I was doing back then and being like, you know, massively just like, I mean, I was the only female person participating for quite a while. I feel really proud of myself and just like, wow, little young teenage Belle, you did all right.
Yeah, and that's something that continued through though, and I find it. I'm not sure what happened, or again, you obviously know better than I because you live in the UK and have that experience, but in Canada and most of the North American battles that I've seen, there's never been a divide. There's always just been open battles, and I remember big ups to like Kayla and Sparks and everybody that's been in the battles. But I've been I like what point did like it's just at what point did they split it across? Because you did become at one point champion in the UK, not only for loopstation tag team, and that was when in the quote unquote mixed category or no division category, but then you also took the female championship, I believe in 2000 something or other.
So like that makes me feel like this is like I don't like that. So basically what so we did in the UK opened up a female category, which like at the time I was so you know Grace Savage, so she's like we grew up together, like we did you know that?
Yeah, no, I had her on the show. We talked a lot about you.
Of course, yeah. So we grew up together, like we've known each other like our whole lives. Well, actually, I remember her in playgroup when we were like 3, but she doesn't remember me. But but in year 7 at school, when we were 11, we were in a tutor group together. But anyway, like so when she started beatboxing, like I was kind of like mentoring her for a while, and she was like doing really great, and basically it seemed at a point, basically there was a point where there was just like no platform for, there was no, it felt impenetrable for anyone that wasn't a man. So we created a female category, and it did genuinely mean that a lot more women were taking part. And yeah, for a couple of years it was like kind of cool, and it was building. And I was basically like, do you know what would be sick is if I enter, and if me and Grace battle, like it would be like a high level in the female, because you know sometimes, I mean, like, let's not beat around the bush, often the female category has felt like a B category, and I was just like, sick, I'm going to enter and me and Grace will both battle, and it will be like a high level female thing, and then maybe it can start to merge and blah blah, blah. I sort of had these ideas, and then like Grace ended up pulling out for whatever reason, and it was just like left me, I was just battling. And you know, it was awkward. I didn't want to be doing that. That wasn't the point. And then the female category got axed, which, you know, like the whole thing, I guess, was kind of an embarrassment. But now we don't have separate categories in the UK, and what's actually happening is that, so I'm in the process of cultivating a community in this country of female and non-binary. I'm non-binary, by the way. I just like to announce that to beatboxers. Some of you who are my friends who are seeing this for the first time might not know this. Some of you might. So my pronouns are they, them. Obviously, I'm like assigned female at birth and operate, like have the lived experience of being like a female person. So I'm not sort of like rejecting that. I guess as well as that, I'm sort of uninvisibilizing the rest of myself, which feels like, you know, is more than this original stuff. Anyway, so I'm cultivating a community with female and non-binary beatboxers in this country, for us to have like a safe space where we can train together and where we can, I guess, like be in community with each other. And like when I think about like what it was about my generation and like my mates in the beatboxing community that sort of pushed us and made us kind of get good, it was being in community. And also like, you know, we'd share gigs with each other, we'd share sounds with each other, we'd share beers with each other, like whatever, like so I'm trying to cultivate that now with gender identities who are sort of like usually marginalized and pushed to the edge and not included in the sort of like core normal community. So I guess like when there is another UK champs, my idea will be to put to this community, like, what do you want? Do you want to have a separate battle, or would you like to go in as as a mixed battle? Because like, you know, like the truth is that we are like, we don't want to have the segregation. Of course, it's really obvious we don't want to have segregation. Like, and also at the same time, we're in a situation where what is there at the moment feels really impenetrable to a lot of people who don't identify as men. And like in France, for example, they have like a separate category for female and non-binary beatboxers, and that has been really nurturing and has like created like space for these incredible new voices from like a variety of genders who like are absolutely smashing it. And there are also places where there are female categories where, or there are also places where there are no female categories, and there are women like who are like coming up the ranks who aren't kind of like being, I guess, glass ceilinged by this B team situation thing that happens. So yeah, like I think that it's not a case of one is better than the other. It's a case of these are different. It's a complex situation. So you know, it's important to ask the people who are the people of the experience that we're talking about to choose, what do you want? What do you feel like would be the most useful thing for you to progress yourself? So yeah, like we'll see what people want. But like I've got a sick little crew like building here. There's about sort of like 10 or 11 of us, and loads of them none of y'all know about yet.
And I'm finding out about new beatboxers all the time, especially with the shift to a lot of the online stuff this year, and getting to go and hear people that I've never heard before and being like, whoa, who is this person? And just like comes out of nowhere at such a high level. I think you nailed it on the head. And again, being involved and being able to help facilitate a space where they can make that decision, where people can make decisions for themselves and not be told how stuff is definitely a way forward. And it's up to any community to go and figure out what best suits them and as a whole to move forward. So, apparently we just lost Belle for some reason. I don't know what happened. We're just going to go and take a second here, but I hope she comes back. I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm going to go see if I can go and bring her back if I call her once again. But I'm going to try calling her again. Maybe there was something with the computer. Maybe there was something with her internet connection. With the internet connection. And hopefully it will pick up. But again, I hope everybody out there is enjoying their Sunday. Thanks for tuning in. We got Beyond the Beats. And we're talking right now to Bellatrix, world champion multiple times. Let me see. I got Yasun in the chat. I'm just going to kind of go through the chat. Anybody that wants to go and see who else is in here. We got Yasun. I know Hobbit's been in here the whole time. I saw Firebraz in there. I saw Pension Kata as well. Big ups to everybody who's tuning in. And I believe there might be some internet issues happening. So we're going to go and wait. I'll call her again in a second. But if you have any questions that you want to go and ask to Bellatrix, go and put them in the comments right here. We'll be sifting through and finding some of the best questions to go and do it. But Big Boris, call him. Let me see here. Oh, Ledge, thank you very much. Yes. And I guess while I'm sitting here waiting to go and figure out how to go and get this sorted out, trying to get the connection working on the UK side of things, I'm going to try to call again, but we'll see in a second if we can get back on to the interview, because I was liking where it was going. I was excited to go and talk about working with the box sets and working with some of the projects that were done. So let me go and see. We're going to go and see when we can go and get back on with Bellatrix. But let me go and see here. If you guys have any questions too, ask away. I don't know what type of questions you want to ask. Well, we don't have Bellatrix on, but are we back on? I can't tell here. I'm so confused. I'm so confused here. We're going to go and see. Try to call again. But any questions you have, let me know. Let me know. Maybe I'll be able to answer something that you're looking for right now. And we're going to go and give another call and see what's happening. We might have to do this in multiple parts, but we will try to figure this out. Let me see here. Also, I know everybody has been able to tune in. SBX Kickback Battle RC 505 Loop Station Edition is a thing. If you guys want to get your wildcards in, make sure you check out the description in the wildcard shoutout video that Pony did, and try to go and get yourself wildcards in. Oh, looks like we may be back. Look, after a slight delay.
I'm on my phone at the moment because my internet's resetting.
That's okay. Could you turn it to the
That way.
landscape? Hey, okay, there we go. So,
sorry about this terrible internet situation.
No, not a problem, not a problem. Someone wants to know real quick, because I asked this question. Someone said, this is just a question as I was waiting.
Yeah.
This is Scott. If you could move anywhere in Canada, where would you go, or would you stay put? Well, Jabok music, I would definitely keep on living in Toronto because I love Toronto, but I would also consider Vancouver or Montreal or the East Coast. God, I love Canada. Anyways, here we go. We're back on it. We got Bellatrix back on after a slight delay. Second introduction. Yo, we're live right here. Part number 2. Back. Back to dancing. All right, we'll figure out how to go and get it. It looks like we're all good now. So, as we left off beforehand, we were just talking about the scene, how you're growing it and getting the opportunity to go and give the option to fellow members to go and make the decision moving forward, which way they want to take the community, which I try to go and listen as best as I can, especially helping organizing Canadian Champs and Great North stuff that I'm doing. I try to go and make sure that I keep an open ear to what people would like to do in general. So I'm glad to have people like you to go and lead the way and also show us ways to go and follow. I appreciate that from this side of the pond. But question for you that's going to be just in general, let's go to World Champs. World Champs become World Champions. So if that first battle you said grew a little bit of confidence in you, you go and win full-on World Champs, and not only in solo, but also with the Beatbox Collective. You also take home Loop Station, and 2 times with Grace as Bird, you take home the UK Tag Team Championships. So with all these things coming in, what does that do for you personally as you continue in your beatbox journey to have these? And I'll ask you a follow-up question right after that. But I just want to know, what did it do to go and get those championships under your belt?
Well, I think that, like, to be really honest about the World Championships, having like gone from being someone who battled in like mixed battles, like always, to then going to the World Championships and winning the female World Beatbox Championships, I found it quite hard to like, I guess I found it quite hard to take seriously. And the fact that I like had won the World Championships, yeah, I'm trying to just sort of like quickly unpick that. Yeah, I guess like to be honest, with the World Championships, like winning, I found it really hard to kind of like let that land and impact me. Obviously, it feels great to be able to like put World Beatbox Champion on my Twitter bio or whatever. You know, it's like a good tagline to have, but like actually, like within me, that wasn't the battle that made me feel like that great about myself. The battle with Grace at 2015 and 2016 UK Championships, that was a battle that felt like, wow, like we, like this is what it is, because we basically neither of us, like both of us had done loads of battling, and neither of us are really battle beatboxers. We're both like different types of artists from that, I suppose, and neither of us wanted to particularly battle, but also we were both really acutely aware of the fact that it was just like basically a load of men, and that we needed to represent, or you know, we didn't have to, obviously, but we felt like we kind of wanted to represent and at least kind of show just a little bit of gender diversity on stage. So we decided to enter. And also, like, a funny thing that happens, like when you're like the only female beatboxer, is that you feel like you represent every single female beatboxer in the world, and every single like woman in the room or whatever. So it kind of felt like loads of pressure to win. We were like, we have to be really good, because we're representing everyone. Which again, you know, like isn't really true, but it is partly true. And yeah, we basically went away for a few days before the battle, and we and Grace probably told you this in her interview, we went away for a few days before the battle, and we like stayed in a house, and we worked out some stuff, and then we went, and we both cared so much about winning, and we did win, and it felt so good to win. And the fact that it was no sort of like, it was definitely not a B team. It was like definitely like, you know, this is the tag team UK Beatbox Championships, and we won it. And then we came back and we won it again. Yeah, it felt really good. Obviously, like you probably all know that we got loads of grief for it. But screw that lot, because
yeah, a load of grief don't take away 2-time titles. Let's go.
Yeah. Yes.
And then from there too, in the loop station category, you also take home the championship for the UK as well.
Yeah, I mean that one, like, I mean, I feel a bit funny about that one as well, because like I literally worked out my routines the night before, and like I did a bit of a like, I kind of rested on, like, because I know that, like, you know, I'm a good musician. I've worked on that forever. I know that I can kind of rest on that. So I don't think that, even though I won, I know that I like didn't even close to prepare something that was like anywhere near as good as I could actually do. And although like I won, I know that I didn't do my best. So yeah, I guess a part of me, to be honest, I forget that I've won that one. But yeah, I guess I'm proud of that too.
Hey, we try to remind you. And another question that I have is this leads me to, and again, the success again with the Beatbox Collective going up against Under Control and taking home the W for the UK. Another huge move, and you guys have done loads of shows together, and it's one of my pleasures to go and see a bunch of like the collective. You guys are you're all great. It makes me so happy to see you all come together and do stuff. So my question is though, future projects and plans. Is there a possibility of you jumping back into any battles, and which battles, if you would like, which battles would you want to obtain as either getting into, battling in, or possibly winning?
So I guess like my preparing for a battle takes so much energy, and like where I want to put my energy now is somewhere else. I want to put my energy into like writing, like getting better at my craft in a more sort of, I kind of feel like battling, the development of battlecraft is like not in line with my own personal taste of music or like creativity. And I mean, like, you know, as I see it. And part of me just wants to be like, I'm gonna like train and battle, but that's my ego, because actually really what I want to do is write, and I want to write, and I want to really work on creating space for other people to grow, you know. That feels really, really important for me at the moment, like community. And yeah, I guess me and Grace were having this conversation the other day about whether we'd battle again, and I just don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I would love to introduce you both on Grand Beatbox Battle Stage one time. You never know. We could go and be like, coming up, we have Bird. Sorry, I'll stop pressing that button.
Do you know what? Like, Grand Beatbox Battle needs some gender diversity, like, so, like, desperately. And, like, that is kind of like, if there's something that can, like, drag me back on the battle stage, it's to, like, diversify a stage. So, like, maybe, I don't know, like, maybe Grace and me would do that. Maybe we do that. Maybe we go back first. For a what?
Heard here first. Coming
first. Yeah, I mean, sorry, Grace, I'm dropping us in it here.
No pressure. All right, so there is a possibility of coming back and battling. It's not out of the question.
It's not a closed door, but it's also not an open door. The door's sort of like ajar, and there's a little light shining through.
Now, outside of beatbox battling with the box sets, you've been to Vocal Total. And I also know that because I've done this as well. You went to the Layla Healthcare in Ireland doing the World Street Performing Championship as well. You were there.
Yeah.
So I did that. I don't even know how many years ago as well, but I saw that you did that as well.
Yeah.
Are there other things that you would like to strive for competition wise, whether it's solo with the box sets, with another group? Is there stuff that you'd like to go and battle in, you know, competition wise? Or is it still you saying the same answer of focusing on?
Yeah, I'm not it's not that I'm not competitive, because like I think if I'm completely honest with myself, I am quite competitive. But I'm not like a competition guy. Like I don't know. All these Britain's Got Talent things always like write to me, and they're like, oh, we think you'd be really great on this show. Like they tried to get the box sets on, they were like, we'll seed it so you get to the finals or something like that. And I'm just like, no. I just want to like write songs.
Hey, new music's come out. Make sure
new music's coming out. It's coming out.
Make sure you check out Golden, currently being on online. So check that out. But
please
that's another.
Please go to Spotify and stream it and like it.
And that's another thing of just music competition in general and things interesting to say the least. So, but you've worked with multiple different groups, whether you're being the bassist, whether you're being the beatboxer, whether you're writing the song, whether you're also helping and being a piece of an orchestra, as it were. So could you kind of talk me through, as a beatboxer, another thing I've asked for people that have been in the situation of working with others, essentially being collaborative. Yeah. So in your opinion, process wise of that, how do you excel, and what advice do you give for people that are starting to work with other areas in beatbox, other than beatbox? So not a tag team, but you might be working with a dancer. You might be one part of the cog when it comes to an orchestra. You might be, just advice to people that are starting to work with others in projects as a beatboxer.
Yeah. So I suppose the first thing I would say is that often as beatboxers, we can be very used to kind of needing to take up the whole stage and take up all the space in the music, because it's just us on the stage, and we are like we're kind of trying to do as much as possible within all the space that's available. And actually, like when you're playing with other musicians, it's really important that you don't do that. It's really important that you kind of take some time to think about what space it is that you're occupying within the music, because there's obviously all of the other sort of participants in the sound space, whether that's you know, say it's a band, so it's like bass, guitar, keys, singer, or whatever. So like sometimes the situation might be that the beatboxer is like replacing the drummer, for example. And if you listen to what a drummer will do in like a lot of really good music, like most of the time it's very, very simple. And you know, you get these, like, you get moments where a drummer will stretch out, or there'll be times when there'll be like a bit of a flashy drum fill. But a lot of the time, like particularly on kind of recorded music, it's just literally just like literally on loop. You don't do other stuff, and that's because that's what's kind of necessary to accommodate the sort of like overall from everyone. So I'd say like one of the things I think is really, really important is to go and listen to drummers and what drummers do. Listen, like think about, okay, what music do I like? Listen to drummers. And of course, like beatboxing, we're not just like drum imitators. We're our own sort of like, we're our own instrument. So there is like loads of other roles that we might be taking. Like there might be a drummer there might be a drummer in the whatever like sort of ensemble we're performing in, and in which case, if there's a drummer, you're going to be like, okay, what is needed here? Like, am I going to be like doubling up with the drummer? I'm definitely not going to be doing like a solo set at the same time as a drummer playing and a whole bunch of other people. And then like another thing is, as like if a beatboxer is sort of like if a beatboxer has learnt to perform on their own, they may have never had to learn to keep time really. And I guess so for example, if you're playing with someone else and they're speeding up, it's not great. Or if they're slowing down, if they're dragging, you know, they're just like really pulling you back, it's really not great. So a really useful tool is to practice with a metronome, and just have the metronome going. And this is useful anyway for like when you're like practicing hard beats, to bring the tempo right down, and practice it at a slow pace and then gradually bring it up. But also just to learn how to sort of get good at keeping time. Practice with a metronome, beatbox along to your favorite records, like really beatbox along, do what the drummer's doing, and just like keep time and try and like get the groove. And yeah, I guess like learn that it's not always just about like you.
Very hard lesson for everyone to learn if you've been used to being just, you know, on the microphone and just trying to go and be the be all end all of the show.
And you know, people will, even if it is like you and a whole like an ensemble, people will tend to be fascinated and drawn to you, because like beatboxing is still quite a kind of new art form, and there's still loads of people who are really sort of like wow, or like awe-inspired by it. But don't let that tempt you to sort of like get flashy and ruin the music. Often if you're playing in an ensemble and there's a beatboxer, they will want to make a little space for you to sort of come through and shine, because people do want to see it, because people are like, wow, that's amazing, because beatboxing is amazing, you know, it's this really kind of it's an incredible thing that we can do. And so yeah, like when it's the right time, you can be like, yeah, and this is that I can do, and this is how fast I can do this, and look at this, and then like make sure that you sort of like graciously step back in within the sort of like context of the wider whole, when it's appropriate to.
I agree with you. Being able to step back and showcase as an entirety is why you work with other people, not to go and just always be the forefront and shine and have that thing that drives you to go and try to be like, but I can
but look at me.
My turn to jump in the double dutch. I want to get in there. And again, so I wanted to also ask, is the box sets, is that still a thing that's happening? Is that something that
we finished like 6 years ago?
Okay, but is there, I meant to ask, is there something outside of a project that you're working on that might be making making and producing music in the upcoming future with that in mind? That now that you said you're working with a band currently?
Hang on.
I'm asking questions that don't really make sense because I couldn't find the ending. I tried to look it up and try to find where you guys split ways and whatnot, as it were. But I was wondering, who are you currently working with then? I'll try to make that as simple and pointed as questions as possible.
So the box sets went our separate ways, and each member of the box sets are kind of doing like various different things. So I don't know if you've heard of Neo, a singer called Neo. That's one of the box sets. Yvette is an artist called Nala. Go and check out her stuff. She's just astounding. Alyosha is doing her music, but she's also doing loads of really incredible work with like vocal and womb healing work. And Kate is doing like, she's got a radio show and she's doing loads of cool things as well. And I'm doing my band. I've got a band basically, and we play, but I'm like the boss. It's my band. It's not like a band, it's my band. No, I'm saying that in a jokey way, but the box sets was obviously, I set it up and it sort of started off as being my project, but we very much became a sort of equal group, and it was like all of our project, and it was a democracy, and that's how we ran it. And with Disraeli and the Small Gods as well, it was like, it started off, Disraeli started it, and then it sort of eventually became everyone's. And I suppose like what I wanted next for there are pros and cons of that, and it can become very complicated when there's a lot of people with ownership in one thing. And like with regards to my music, I was like, okay, I am very clear on the fact that I would like there to be no confusion over who the boss is. It needs to be me. And so I basically pay my musicians for rehearsals and for gigs, and essentially they're kind of session musicians, but like I use the same musicians, so it's kind of, we are a band in a sense, and they all have their unique voice within the music that I write. And that is like just like an interesting, just a little nugget actually. Like if you start a project and you expect or you ask of other people to if you ask other people of their time, so you're asking people to rehearse with you, your band, like play with you, but it's in your head, it's your project. You have to be prepared for if they're giving you their time for free to rehearse and stuff, they're gonna feel like they want some ownership over the project too, probably. So I've seen this sort of become a sort of, in all my years as a musician, I've seen this become like a problem for quite a lot of people. And so I think like a piece of advice that I would give when sort of starting a project is like, kind of get clear in your head where you're like, is this your project, or is this a group project? And if it's a group project, it needs to be really clear, like whether like how equal it is, because if people give time for free, they're going to want emotionally some sort of attachment to it. So my project is my project, and I pay my musicians, and that's kind of one arm of what I'm doing at the moment. I'm also I've got a friend called Emma who's a break dancer, Shortbread they're called, and we have we're just sort of going in the process of going into a big creation of a big project that we've just got a load of funding to do. which is really exciting. So it's going to be me and Nala on the music and sound, and that is one of the boxettes, and a dancer called Annie Edwards and Emma, and potentially another dancer as well. And yeah, we're going to create a really sick project. So that's a thing for the summer that's happening.
Hey, I like that.
Watch this space.
What's it called?
It's called Like Mercury.
Like Mercury. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like, it's in its infantile stages. So
name subject to change?
No.
Ah.
I don't think so. But like more information to come, I guess.
Well, I look forward to seeing what you got, what is created to be. I remember I saw just talking to the Beatbox House, and they just made up the Missing Element show with a bunch of dancers and their collective working together, and it was just from the small pieces that I've seen, it looks amazing. So I'm excited to go and see what your side will do and create with so many people being able to work together.
Exciting.
And I have a follow-up question too. Do you have a name? Is it Bellatrix and do you have a name for your band, or is it?
Oh, it's just Bellatrix. It's just me.
Oh,
it's all me.
Hey now. Okay, well that makes it easy to remember.
Yeah.
So new music's coming out, new project coming out.
Yeah.
Working with musicians under Bellatrix. You have multiple arms, much like a. We're gonna go and say so many arms, like an octopus. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like
Musical
that.
octopus.
Yes.
Being able to go and put hands in things and different things. And I was gonna go and ask before moving on to some other sections of the show, just other interesting projects that you've done around the world, and you've done a good number of them. But one of them that kind of stuck out to me, because I've done a lot working with kids and going into schools and stuff. But the Barbican box.
Barbican. Yeah.
From what I read on it, it's such a cool looking idea. Is a box. They bring a box to a school, and in the box there's loads of different stimulants that, like, let's say stimulating things. Like that's kind of a weird thing to bring into a school. There probably wouldn't get asked back. But so you have this box loaded with all these different things for them to go and look at and create a project. Could you kind of speak on what that project was like, being able to go to schools and have that on the musical side of thing, and just explain that project? Because I was trying to really figure out what that was about. I thought it was super neat from what I could find on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. So the Barbican Centre is a sort of world-class art centre in London. It's one of the sort of biggest, I guess this is like Barbican Centre, South Bank Centre, Roundhouse, Battersea Art Centre. There's these sort of like big cultural centres in London. And they all have really great learning and participation sections. So like sections that do creative things with people, whether that's like in communities or in schools or whatever. So the Barbican box is a project. They do it across, I think they do it across music, they do it in theatre and visual arts, I think. And it's literally a box that gets like curated by an artist that is like, every year there'll be a different artist that curates the box, and this box will go into schools. And I think the first year that I did it, it was like 13 schools it went into, and within the box, so there's a budget to just put like some stuff in the box, like whether it's so the box will have a theme. So I think the theme that I chose was having a voice. And what that kind of meant, like, I guess it kind of meant there's literally having a voice. So obviously I'm an artist that uses my voice in lots of different ways. So it's having a voice and how we can explore the sort of like literal physical aspect of having a voice physically, however that is for us. And then also there's like having a voice within the world, like what do we want to say? Like, what are we saying? In the world, what are our opinions, like how do we perceive our agency? And these kids are like, I guess it's probably age like 12 to 16 or something, so they're just at a point where they're starting, like, a lot of them are starting to get develop their opinions in a sort of certain way, and practicing, like, I guess like adults with L plates or something, and like So within the box, I actually can't remember what I put. This was such a long time ago. I definitely put like an MP3 player with a bunch of pieces of music that sort of had powerful political messages, and also pieces of music that were made very like with either like really amazing vocal performances or very sort of vocal heavy or sort of like unusual vocal performances or whatever. And I think I put like a dictaphone. I put like a bunch of stuff in the box basically. And then I made some teaching resources. So I'm just trying to drag out of my memory what the hell I did. I can't remember really, but just I guess kind of lesson plans for the teachers to work with the young people on create like how to use the materials that were in the box in ways that may produce something interesting and unusual that they may not have otherwise done. Because I've done a lot of work with young people, and I've done a lot of work in schools, and quite often, like if left to their own devices, the young people will basically end up writing pop tunes that are similar to what they're listening to on the radio. And like I really wanted to like sort of encourage them to get a bit more exploratory. So there was a lot of stuff to facilitate that. And it's basically so it's kind of like a teacher training thing. So I did a bunch of sessions with the teachers to show them how I would do these sessions with the young people, and then the teachers would then go and use the tools to do the sessions with the young people, and then I would go into the schools like a few times, and then at the end the schools would all do a massive performance on the main stage at the Barbican, which, like, let me tell you, that stage is like, it's a big stage. It's where famous people play. And so all these like really young people playing their own music that they created on this stage is a really incredible thing. And they were just amazing. Like the music they came out with was mind-blowingly excellent. And they just, they really took the bull by the horns and went in, and the performance was amazing. And I just felt really proud of them all.
I was gonna say, proud teachers sitting on the lines watching it happen. It's something that I love hearing. That, you know, I love seeing across the world. There are beatboxers working in schools and giving their perspective on the world, but able to go and do it through our art form. And it's just so, it's nice to go and think about it, because you can remember back when you were a kid, and I think we're similar ages, and like just the idea kind of being like, who came in? Like, yo-yos are cool. Don't get me wrong, I like seeing those, but I mean, you know, and maybe that would be the thing for somebody, but actually working and coming back and teaching and progressing, it's something different, something special about it.
Yeah, and you know what? Like the other day, it was in December. I was beatboxing on a project with some people, some of whom I knew and some of whom I didn't. And there was a person who I didn't previously know, and they are a sort of poet beatboxer, and they sort of like intermingle poetry and beatboxing, and they're like a really, really interesting artist. They formerly went by Slam the Poet. I think they might have changed their name now, but I'm not completely sure. But I was like, you're wicked. And then we had a phone call to just like share some ideas and stuff a couple of weeks later. And they basically said that they got into beatboxing because some beatboxers had gone into their school when they were young. And then we worked out that it was me that had gone into their school. And I was like, oh my God, that's nuts.
And I could see by the smile on your face. I read another interview where you said that it's not about, and this is a misquote, this is just a kind of summarize or just the idea behind it. But you said something along the lines of, it's not about performing in front of all these huge crowds and getting to go and see this and that you know, popularity and stuff that comes with it, but having a kid come up to you and say that, you know, you inspired me to do something was the real bread and butter of your the artistry that you do. Has made me genuinely happy to hear, because that's something that gets you, hits old Scott Jackson in the feels. I could sit here and talk for a long time. We got more to talk about, but I want to go and get into another section because I know that people have been asking for it. So, are you ready?
I want to move over to my laptop, which is connected to the internet.
Okay. Well, during that
yeah.
No. Don't do your thing, whatever needs to be done, and I'll be setting up as we transfer over.
Oh my God! What's happening? Sorry, I don't know what's going on here. My tech life. I've just moved house, so everything is like my life is a bit of a mess.
That's okay. In a good way, in a pleasant way. So as it gets moved over and kicked over, excuse me, we're gonna go and I'm gonna put out there for anybody that wants to ask a question, put it in the chat right now. We're gonna have Ilya run through it, and he will pick out some of the best questions to go and ask Bellatrix, making sure that people are there. But we're gonna see as we transfer over. Trying to figure this out. Oh, she gone. Maybe? No? Still there? All right, we're figuring this out. The internet. There we go. All right.
My friend Papuni.
I have some questions for you. We'll be asking in a second. But we're back. Okay. Everything's good. Everything's fine. Right here. I'm gonna look. This has been back and forth a little bit, trying to make sure that the internet is sticking up where you are, where you've moved to. But right now, I want to know if you're ready. We're gonna do something called rapid fire questions. Good?
Yes.
Okay, so rapid fire questions. Obviously, I'm going to ask you questions in a rapid succession, and I want you to try to answer as quickly as you can. Okay?
Okay, so like, don't go on. Like, how long have I got to?
Getting joined by special guest.
Sorry.
No, not a problem. But yeah, no, it's not that you can't go on, but just to answer the questions, I'm going to ask you something along the lines of, like, well, you'll see, but just first thing that comes to your mind is the answer.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody tuned in right here, live and direct. We got Bellatrix. We're about to go and run through rapid fire questions. Rapid fire. Let's do this thing. So, rapid fire. First question off the top of your head. Current favorite solo beatboxer?
I think it's still Kayla.
Current favorite tag team?
A Cloud.
Current favorite loopstation artist?
Oh. Grace Savage.
Current favorite crew that you're not in?
Squid.
Current favorite sound?
Do you know what? Like, I still can't do it, but the inward lip roll. I know it's like old and everyone's over it, but I can't do it, so I'm just like.
You'll get there. Another question is, do you still see Bertha the armadillo?
What?
Do you still see Bertha the armadillo? This is from one of your way previous interviews. Your imaginary armadillo named Bertha.
Oh, I must have been making that up.
Well, egg on my face. Let's go and change that question.
You know what, Bertha's over there.
Chilling. If you were to bring what's the first place you would bring someone who comes to visit the UK if they were with you?
I would take them around London. I take them to Hackney Marshes. I take them to some parties. I take them to some naughty little parties. I take them, all around the good places.
Where is the best place to get fish and chips in the UK, in your opinion?
It's called Trawler's Catch, and it's on Crediton High Street in Devon.
What is your favorite British pub fare?
My favorite what?
What is your favorite food in Britain? Favorite country's food?
Oh, I mean
English food, as it were.
There's no good food that's like ours. Like wild garlic picked fresh out the woods is nice.
All right. Okay, then follow up. Where is your favorite? What is your favorite dish? What is your favorite dinner?
What's my favorite food like altogether ever?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I really like all food, so I feel like you can't do that to me. You can't do that to me in a quick fire round.
Coffee or
favorite
coffee
food?
or tea? Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Favorite color?
Favorite color?
Yeah.
Favorite color? Look at all the colors we have. How are you going to be trying to get me to choose one color as my favorite color? I like all colors.
Favorite artist?
Favorite artist? Scotman. Like, I don't know, like, what you want me to do with this. I like so many artists.
Okay, I'll stop being a schmuck. That's rapid fire with Bellatrix. Ooh, got a tear in my eye. Ooh. Well, that's a rapid fire question for you. Next up, we have questions from
my friend Papuni. My friend Papuni
has a few questions for you. All right. First question. He asked.
My friend Papuni
wants to know, in one word, what does beatbox mean to you?
You got questions, these one option questions.
No pressure.
Pressure.
Pressure?
No.
Is that your answer?
No. Expression. Self-expression.
Oh.
That's one word. Self-expression with a dash.
Okay, we'll give you that one. Another question from
my friend Papuni.
All right. What is your most cherished memory of your time as part of the Beatbox Collective so far?
Okay. Oh, there's so many. Okay. So this one is like kind of sad, but I cherish it really deeply. So as you probably know, we lost Tobias like kind of nearly 18 months ago now. And like when we basically got a text on, I think it was like New Year's Day, basically saying he's going to go quite soon. So he was in Germany. We all flew, me, Rue, Zany and Hobbs flew to Germany. And I took my ukulele with me. So me and Zany work in hospitals with young people being treated for congenital heart condition, lung condition, like respiratory conditions and cancer. And so we've got loads of experience of being around death and around people, hospitals, and around like quite emotionally challenging situations. So we were actually quite well prepared to go into this situation. Obviously, it was a very different because it was our friend and someone we love personally very deeply. But we went and we basically jammed with Toby for the last time, and we played, like I played some tunes on the ukulele and was singing, and they were all beatboxing along, and Toby sat up and he was singing, and he hadn't sung for a really long time, and his family said that he hadn't, like that he his family said that he like really lit up in that moment in a way that he hadn't for a while. And you know, it was the last time we saw him, and it's really sad, but I really cherish that moment, and I really am so grateful that we were able to go and say goodbye, and that we were able to have this thing which was beatboxing and music that we were able to come and bring to the space and transform it in that way. So that will be a memory that I cherish forever.
That is A good story. And
Good story, isn't it?
yeah, definitely a good story. Another question from
my friend Papuni.
He wants to know. That's very, very okay. Let's go. What other questions does he have here? He wants to know what's a beatbox sound you are currently working on.
So like, okay, I've been working on this for. I'm like everyone's over this sound already, but I'm trying to work on the which like I just can't do. I've been trying to do it for so long.
Not yet. The first one.
It just sounds rubbish.
Hey, no, that's how it starts. It's continuously going as people.
Been sounding this bad for like 3 years.
But there's gonna be that one time where you just all of a sudden click and you're gonna get it. So I got faith in you. You will get this sound.
I know that that's the way it works because I'm a beatboxer and it's happened to me a million times before. But I'm like, why isn't it working with this sound? Am I just not putting enough hours into it? I think I'm probably not practicing it enough. Anyway, that's the sound I'm working on still.
Okay, well, I'm excited to hear what you do with it in your own way. Another question from
my friend Papuni.
He wants to know, sweet or salty if you're having yourself a late night snack, which one do you prefer?
Both. Stop asking me all these like one or the other questions.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna come. I'm like, give me everything.
Fair enough. Another question that he has is,
my friend Papuni
wants to know if you could give a piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be now?
It would be like, it's really cliche, but it would just be like, do you. You are enough. Do you.
And I think that, again, being able to work in schools and you going to places and allowing kids to hear that message is a message that's much needed. So good one. Another question from
my friend Papuni.
My friend Papuni.
My friend Papuni
wants to know, who is a beatboxer you would like to collaborate with other than Grace? Is there a beatboxer? Hey?
Other than Grace, you say?
Yeah, and members of the Beatbox Collective. So we'll say out of groups that you're currently in.
Well, that lot anyway. No, I'm not. I love you guys. Sorry. Yeah, I guess like do you know what? Like, it'd be really sick to collaborate with Butterscotch because we were kind of like around a bit earlier and we're both sort of like doing slightly other things now rather than just being like really beatbox heavy. And I'd be really interested to like check out what Butterscotch is up to and make some music.
I would love to see that collaboration because I know that she's plays guitar and I know that you guys you'd make something smash. I would love to hear what you could create of. Another question from
my friend Papuni.
My friend Papuni
wants to know. Okay, then here we go. He's going to say, if you had advice for beatboxers trying to level up when they start, what advice would you give them?
So I guess like try and like well, it goes without saying that you have to work really hard to get good. You have to focus and work hard. I would also say like try and like not to get too caught up in this like comparison game or like trying to like that. I feel like with there can be a lot of noise, like comparing yourself to others, slating other people, like be like, you know, putting other people down. Like don't get involved in any of that stuff. Like actually, as well as getting like really good at your craft, you like, this is a community. We need to love each other and respect each other. And as you start to meet other beatboxers, they're either going to want to be friends with you or not. And if you're like out there cussing people, then they're not going to want to be friends with you. So you're never going to get anywhere. So yeah, just really yeah, just like be sound as well as practice and get good.
Absolutely solid advice. And those were questions from
My friend Papuni.
My friend Papuni.
My friend Papuni.
questions. We're gonna go now, and I've been given a list of questions now from our audience. So throughout this show, people have been watching and they've been tuning in. People have been sending messages in, and our good friend Hydeful, big up to Hydeful, Ilya, for going to run the stream and picking out these questions. So, questions from the audience. Ish. Question number 1. What is your personal favorite beatbox sound without a microphone? Off mic.
That's a really good question, actually. I guess like for me, because I have like a female vocal apparatus, like with the sort of like sounds that like the sort of those kick drum sounds, they're not very low and big down a microphone, and I really enjoy just like off mic, just like just messing around with that, and like just like as soon as I do that on a microphone, it doesn't really carry and it doesn't have the same impact, but like off the microphone, I feel really satisfied, like just making like some dance beats like that.
It's funny how that works sometimes too, where you're sitting there and like on a microphone, it loses details or it doesn't sound the same if you're sitting in like a, but solid answer. Another question from our audience. Beatbox Hobbit asks if you could talk about the gigs at the Croft when you were known as Spasmatron.
Oh, how are you gonna do that to me, bro?
Hey, I'm just reading it.
No, I was talking to Hobbit when I said that.
I know.
But also, no. Okay, so yeah, I had a really problematic beatbox name when I was a teenager, like really problematic, and I'm not going to repeat it. It's basically ableist. Yeah, so like those are the gigs that I used to get chucked out the clubs because I was only like 16, 17. And yeah, Hobbit was there like a lot of the time. We used to do gigs together. We were just these two little baby face beatboxers like in the nightclub in Bristol. It was really good fun. I feel like Hobbit just wanted to out me on my like old name.
Well, I think I do relatively pretty good research before things, and I did not find that, so don't worry.
It's been like well hidden.
Yeah, up until now.
When I met Shlomo at the UK Beatbox Championships, he was like, yeah, I'd love you to be on the agency, but like your name, like it's not okay. You need to change that. And that's when I changed my name, and I changed it to Bellatrix because my name's Belle, which is short for Isabel. So Belle's my name. And in the constellation Orion, there's a star, like it's his left shoulder. It's called Bellatrix. It's a star, and it's also Latin. It's also Latin for female warrior. So those are, and like obviously Harry Potter, but that's not. I don't know about Harry Potter.
Yeah, no, I'm unsure of that either. But that's actually going to go in. Our next question was from Psydox asking, how did you start working with Voldemort? And that's something that's going over my head as well. Don't worry, you're not alone.
All these Harry Potter questions, man, like I get them. I get hit with Harry Potter questions all the time, and I don't really know what to say. Yeah.
Hey, you and I both. Yeah. Anyways, ish. Next question from our audience. You know what? You were right, because the next question was, are you a Potterhead? And I believe that is again in reference to Harry Potter. So we just kind of answered that right here. Outside of that, someone wanted to know. Back to the ridiculous questions. Someone wants to know where's your favorite cuisine from? So I'm gonna go and say, how about this? I'll make it a little easier for you. And locally, where you are locally,
yes,
do you have a favorite restaurant?
Yeah, so I've just moved house, so I have yet to sort of like scout out all the good places, but there is a vegetarian South Indian restaurant like quite close by called Raza, which is just like so buff. I love it. It's delicious. Everything they make is delicious. So
go to find Raza if you're in the London area.
Yeah, the London area. It's in
we'll make that pretty broad.
Yeah, it's in Stoke Newington.
All right. And another question from our audience. We'll go with this one as the last one because a lot of them are coming in as a lot of Harry Potter questions, like you said. I tried, you know what? I never asked you one of those until, anyways. Let me see here. Oh, okay. One more question from the audience. Question is, who is an upcoming beatboxer that you're very impressed by?
Good question. So there's like, do you know what? Like, am I gonna be choosing? As you can tell, I'm like really not good at making choices. I just like everything. So there's a beatboxer called Shamim, and I'm not sure she has that's her name. I'm not sure she has a beatbox name yet. She's like, yeah, she doesn't have a whole lot of stuff out. She's in my sort of like crew that she's like a part of the community space that is being created at the moment over here. And yeah, she's like kind of multidisciplinary. She raps and produces beats, and she's really musical, and she's like studying politics at one of the top universities in the UK. She's like a brain and a creative sort of like G. And yeah, I just really like her vibe. I really like her style. I really like, she's really sort of like, she's got quite an old school vibe about her, but yeah, like she's quite hard hitting and like heavy, and she's got like a wicked attitude, and I'm just really into her. So I need to see like, yeah, she's not really putting much stuff out there at the moment. I need to sort of like try and get her to put some more stuff out there and then send it to you lot.
Hey, we more than welcome and be welcoming to go and hear it, and maybe in more of a tradition of the breakdance scene, but maybe you can go and bestow a name and encourage a name to go and come out, or you know.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll figure that. All right, those are questions from our audience. We had questions from the pony. We had rapid fire questions, and now I want to go and bring it up and leave the ball into your court. Is there anything that I didn't talk about that you feel like you want to talk about while we're here?
No, I don't think so. I guess like, yeah, there was just one little thing that I was thinking about, like when you were talking about sort of learning and participation stuff. And so by that, like, for if anyone sort of unsure what that means, like, I guess kind of like teaching stuff, but just like working with people in different like scenarios. So not necessarily like teaching in a school, but you know, Zany and I go and do beatboxing in hospitals and stuff. So and you know, I do loads of stuff in schools or in community centers, or you know, loads of different settings. And like, I guess one thing that I wanted to say about that, which I was saying to some other people recently, for anyone who is kind of like thinking about their options as a beatboxer and what they want to do. So like if you are sort of hoping to, or like going into beatboxing as a career path, there's so many different kind of things that you can do, and you know, that you can do at the same time. Like most of us don't sort of have one job that we do. We don't just like go around and perform. That we do so many different things. We're part of loads of different projects, and doing this kind of like participatory work is a big part of what a lot of us do. And I think that like when I first started kind of entering my professional musicianhood, I didn't think I wanted to teach. I kind of wasn't really interested in teaching, and I said yes to some teaching gigs because it was money, and then I realized that I loved it, and that I was good at it, and that it actually was a massive contribution to my life. And I guess, I guess like one thing that I've realized about it is that when you, like when you're doing something that's like having an impact on someone else's life or transformative for someone else, then it in turn basically is good for your own mental health, and it's really good for you. So if anyone's like thinking about like going into beatboxing and thinking about like what path to take and like, oh, am I going to be able to do this? Definitely I very much encourage you and invite you to sort of have a look at, or like consider getting into doing participatory learning and participatory work, because it's really fulfilling. And I like to keep a really good balance between performance work and participation work. So I have thirds. I have a third of my work is like my stuff, and it's like my band, it's my music. It's my like sort of like solo creative channel. A third of my work is performing like with and for other artists in their projects, or like in collaborative projects. And then another third of my work is working in these participatory settings. And if I keep that balance, I feel like I'm generally really, really happy. And if one of them starts to take over, I start to feel a bit like, oh, this isn't right. But yeah, I really, really just do recommend like giving that stuff some airtime, because it's really fulfilling and great. And you can have a real, we can have such an impact on the world with what we do, because it's just great.
I like that. Oh, it didn't work. Oh
Dear, it's broken.
Well, sometimes you break the machine, it doesn't work. Oh, I had it all set up. I was gonna press another one, but anyways, again, I think you're right. Having balance and giving back and getting to go and not only help others heal, but heal yourself is definitely a big part of how to go and get yourself on a good path in life. So,
yeah.
Well said. Yeah, with that being said, I know there's more stuff that you've done that we haven't talked about, but, leave a little bit up to the illusion and people to go and look into more. But for music-wise, make sure that you go check out the new single that is going to be off the debut, that's going to be off the new album coming out. We have Golden that's just being live streamed. Make sure you go out there and check out the new music. You can go on to the website. The website's there. And also, where can people go and follow you currently?
Yes, so I feel like Instagram is kind of the main place that I'm trying to get people, that I'm trying to build at the moment. So my Instagram is Bellatrix_music. So BELLATRIX_music. That's also my Twitter, and my Facebook is Bellatrix Music. Come follow my Instagram page. Every Monday I put out a video on there. So I'm doing another one tomorrow. As Scott says, I've just released a single, and I'm really trying to push that at the moment. So come by my Spotify. It's Bellatrix. The new single is called Golden. Give it a stream, give it a love heart like, and that'll help me out big time. And just come and chat, come and say hi. It'd be wicked to catch up with some new people. Yeah,
absolutely. And there's also, what was I gonna say?
I don't know.
There's also a possibility of more music coming. There's also a possibility of battles happening. There's a lot of things that are going to be happening, moving and shaking. So make sure that you go onto the social medias, go ahead and give it a follow, and as well as support the new music that has come out and is coming out. Aside from that, I wanted to go and say, do you have it in you to do a little beatbox, or however long you'd want, without the bass at the end of this to go and end off? Because people have been asking the entire time, and I'd love to hear some more if you're feeling game.
I'm up for it.
All right. Once again, episode 54, Beyond the Beats, right here, world champion, multiple different disciplines, coming at you live and direct. You already know what to do with Bellatrix. I say the 3, y'all say the 2 and the 1. Let's get it in 3.
Get the point. I ain't trying to hate on you, it's just difficult. Get the point. Get the point. I ain't trying to hate on you, it's just difficult. Get the point. What? Yes. Aye. Yeah.
Yeah. Coming on this show just like Bellatrix did. Make sure you come correct. Let's go. Once again, thank you for coming on. And I've been loving as well the videos that you've been putting out. I've been seeing the split screen where you're doing either solo or working with people and cutting it up and putting together videos for Instagram. And it's been a pleasure to go and watch. I like the new music. I like the old music that you put out as well. And those albums or EPs rather also out. And you can check those out on Spotify. But once again, thank you very much for everything that you've come and added to our scene. I look forward to seeing you again in person. And thank you for coming on the show today.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I can't wait to see you in the real life again.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too long away.
Fingers crossed. I do genuinely will. It's eventually going to come back. It's going to come back. And we're going to be able to have shows and I could actually like high fives and whatnot, you know?
Yes.
But once again, jeez, come on. Beyond the Beats, this was episode 54 with Bellatrix. Make sure you go on to the Spotify, check out the new tune Golden, new EPs coming out. Go on the Instagram, Bellatrix_music, follow up there, and Twitter and Facebook. Jump on the YouTube. Make sure you check out new projects coming out. And I'm looking once again so much to go and seeing you in person and hearing you live. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck for what will be continuing to be a long and very, very well done career. I'm excited to go and see where you take it. So this has been Scott Jackson with Beyond the Beats with Bellatrix, all that good stuff. And happy Mother's Day once again to everybody out there that is a mother. Anybody that this is at least from Canada's perspective. I think this is the day to cross. I could be wrong, but this is from me to, you know, my mom too. Call your friends and family, tell them you love them, and keep that beatbox sword sharp. Keep practicing. That's all I can say about that. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And with that being said, we'll see you again soon. Get your wild cards in for the Kickback Battle Loop Station Edition. And that's time.